Well, howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, it's all about Macs, and it's all about old Macs. I'm talking a PowerMac G4, alright? So if you think you're ready for that kind of entertainment, continue on with the video. If Macs aren't your thing, and if older Macs aren't your thing, then look away. Look no further, as they say. So a little point of reference here, I have two of these PowerMac G4s here. One I was given by a client who actually used this thing in production many years ago to run their print department, and the other one is one that Jerry had in his garage that evidently I had built for his mother 15 years ago, 10 years ago probably. And that one is a PowerMac G4 with the dual processors, and that so we're going to start out the video with the single CPU PowerMac G4, and then we're going to segue into the dual PowerMac G4. And basically the difference between them is the PowerMac G4 single core, I believe, has a 10100 NIC card in it, and the PowerMac G4 with the dual processors has a little bit better AGP video card in it and gigabit Ethernet. So I'm not going to waste too much time here talking about them. Let's get into the video right now. Well, here we are. No, I didn't pay a penny for this thing. This is an old Mac G4. This unit was given to me by a client. They were getting ready to throw it away. And I said, no, why don't you let me have it if you don't mind. And I'll do a video on it for YouTube. And I love these old Macs. My first experience with a Mac was an iMac back in 1998. And that was my first experience with video editing, and I fell in love. I started out with OS 9, operating system 9, and I muddled through it, and then moved up to OS 10 and fell in love with it, and it made it more Windows-like. That's why I liked going from OS 9 to OS 10, because it was more Windows-like. It was more intuitive. OS 9 was a clunker, but it was a good operating system. Man, I used iMovie on there, GarageBand, you name it. I used it on that iMac, and I was so proud of myself. Anyway, I digress. So this is a Mac G4, and I booted up. I don't know the specs because it has crashed. It booted up on me a couple of times, went into OS 9, worked fine. I ordered something off of eBay. I found a set of Mac OS 10 Tiger, which is the last version that this Mac G4 supported. I think I paid $20 for this on eBay. It's the original, packaging, all the bells and whistles of OS 10. And it has the black discs in here. So the gray discs are usually used on a specific model of a machine, but the black discs are a retail version, and they'll work on any Mac. So if you order a set of these, make sure you let them know you need the black discs, and make sure you're ordering the right thing. This has got an old, I think it's a Quantum hard drive in it, 8 gig, and I thought, well, let's just see if we could install OS 10 on there. And it had got about, I'd say 7/8 of the way through the install. It was on disk 4, and then it said optimizing system, and then every once in a while on this hard drive I'd hear a click, click, click. So man, this hard drive has been around, though. It served it well, and this came out of a company that does print design. So this was probably a $2,000 or $3,000 purchase for them when it was new. I don't know the specs. I think it has 512 meg RAM. I'm not quite sure, but I know the hard drive has failed on it. So what I want to do now is let you get some pictures of me ripping into this thing and repairing it. And I have a 160 gig IDE hard drive, and I ordered this off of Amazon a couple of years ago for my original Xbox project, and I don't use those Xboxes anymore, not with the emulator now on the Raspberry Pi, so I have no need for those Xboxes. But I do have a need for a 160 gig hard drive, and then if I decide to keep this around, what I'll probably do is buy an IDE to SD card adapter kit for it. But anyway, enough babbling. Let's break into this machine and see what's inside of it. I'm just going to go ahead and tear into this thing. I've disconnected the power, but the hard drive is here. And I was right, it is an old Quantum hard drive. Look at it. It's pretty dusty, huh? So I'm going to go ahead and take this one out, replace it with this Seagate 160 gig IDE hard drive, and going to see if we can install OS 10. The thing about Apple is, well, besides there being an old broken piece of plastic in there, you know, this has got an 80-pin cable, an 80-pin IDE cable, so this may support a faster serial ATA interface on this thing. All the RAM slots in this thing are populated, I'm noticing. There's no Wi-Fi card in there, but there is a spot for it. This is a machine that has been well taken care of. It's got the zip drive, and it's only got a CD-ROM drive in there. It's read-only. It's not a writer, but that could be easily remedied. I don't like pulling these Molex connectors. I like prying them. There we go. Give them a little wiggle. And then there's one screw right here that holds the caddy in. And put that screw to the side. Go ahead and take the hard drive back out. Oh my goodness. What year was that drive made? It's a 10 gig. I was wrong. It's a 10 gig. Actually, this says it's a 13.6 gig. But this label says it's a 10. It's a Fireball series. Let's see if I can find it. Made in Japan. Oh my goodness. Boy, oh boy, that's when Apple used to buy stuff from places other than China. I don't see the date on here. I'm going to assume it's maybe 2002, 2003, 2000. I don't know. It's got screws on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these. All right, so we've got the drive in here now. Everything's plugged in. The drive is set on cable select. If that's wrong, I can just simply turn the unit off and reselect it. So let's go ahead and fire it up and see if we can get this thing to boot up. Sorry about that, folks. I had I've got a monitor that doesn't want to play well with this Mac. Let's fix this. This simply means it can't find an operating system. So let's see if we can go ahead and insert disk 1 of Tiger. And then we'll power this unit off. And if I remember, you hold down the option key when you turn it on, and that'll give you an option to, maybe it'll boot right off the CD. I may have given it what it wanted. Wouldn't that be a kick in the rubber parts? But yeah, it looks like it's booting off the drive. That's good. It's always a good sign, isn't it? Now, keep in mind, this machine is running in the range of 400 to 500 megahertz if I'm lucky. It might even be lower megahertz than that. And it doesn't have a whole bunch of RAM. I think it has 512 meg, maybe 512 meg. We'll see here. I don't know if I can run about this Mac until I get the OS loaded, so it's going to take however long it takes to boot off of this CD. That's the other thing, we're booting off of CDs. There we go, use English. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. Our mouse is working. All right, let's go ahead and get this bad boy ready to go. Now the first thing we'll need to do is come up here to Utilities and go to Disk Utility and see if it can see our new hard drive. And then we can actually choose the installer after we format the hard drive or erase it. Hopefully it'll see it. Yes, it sees it as 128 gig hard drive. Okay. Smart status verified, internal. You see it's a 3160. So I wonder, did OS X Tiger or did this G4 have a limit on hard drive size? So hopefully this hard drive is going to work with this thing. I don't know why it wouldn't. So we'll call this hard drive OSX, and I'm typing on the original keyboard, OSX Tiger. I'm going to go ahead and install Mac OS 9 disk driver. This option does not affect Classic. No, I don't need it on a disk running OS 9. Man, I wonder if I should leave that checked though. I'm going to leave it checked. I'm going to err on the side of caution. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that drive. It failed with the error, input, output error. Okay, well, I think we have a problem, Houston, that this drive is going to be too big. I'm going to have to find a different drive for this thing. Alright, so yes, we've been here before. So what I've done is I've gone out and I have found the only other IDE hard drive I have in this entire house. And that is the one that is out of my Xbox, my original Xbox. And since I will never be using it again, I'm going to sacrifice it for the sake of this video. Might as well put it to use. So there it is, 9.5 gig. Now let's see if it'll allow me to erase it and give it a title. Tiger. And let's see if we can click on erase. And it's warning me it'll destroy all the data. Fingers crossed. Disk failed with the following error, input, output error. Okay. So, oh my God, if anybody told me what a huge pain in the butt this was going to be, I never would have done it. No, I would have done it anyway. You know me. So anyway, here we sit in front of back in front of the PowerMac G4. But this is a different PowerMac G4. I was talking with Jerry, and he reminded me that years ago I built this unit for his mom. She didn't have a computer, and this is when I was in my Mac phase. I don't even know where I got this PowerMac G4 from. I may have bought it off of eBay years ago, but it's been so long I just don't remember. Now this one was in a smoker's house, and I haven't cleaned it. Yeah, I used to be a heavy smoker, and this is what the inside of all of my machines I'm sure used to look like, just nasty. I can only imagine what the inside of my lungs look like. But now I vape, so I guess it's much better, huh? The other thing I didn't remember is this is a dual 500 megahertz processor, right? Now it only has, I don't know how much RAM it has, but the big problem is the hard drive is crashed in it, just like the hard drive crashed on the other PowerMac G4 that I have, that I got from a client site. Now, if you saw earlier in this video, I was trying to get a regular spinning hard drive to work. The problem is that those drives came out of some old Xboxes that I have, and I don't use them anymore. I don't play around with the old original Xbox because I can emulate it now, right? So I took one of the hard drives out of the old Xbox, and I forgot that those drives were software modded, those Xboxes. And when you software mod an Xbox, it keeps the hard drive locked. So the hard drives were locked. That's why they wouldn't work in the other PowerMac G4. So I went online on Amazon, or actually I talked to a friend of mine who's a Mac fanatic, and he pointed me to this device, and I'll put the link down below in the notes. But it's an SDHC MMC to 3.5 inch big PCB SD-3.5 IDE new. And it comes in this little brown box. And then Amazon has a combo. If you get it with an SD card, it came out to $25, something like that. What this does is allows you to plug this into the IDE controller and to power, and put your SD card in there, and allows you to treat it like a hard drive. And it does work on this PowerMac G4. So I'm going to show you the results now of installing. Well, actually, what you're going to do is watch me install it really quickly, because I'm just going to plug it in and lay it down somewhere for now and make sure that none of the little connectors on the back short out or anything. And then after I install it, we're going to boot into the Mac G4. Now I don't have any way to capture the video on this, so I'm going to have to film the actual screen and then we'll get the specs on this Mac, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit about what we can do with this PowerMac G4. All right, so let's get started. So I've already unplugged the hard drive, so I'm just going to take the end of the IDE cable here, and hopefully y'all can see this. My big arm isn't in the way. My spouse is outside yelling at the dog, so if you hear anything coming over the camera, that's what it is. And then we're going to take our Molex connector, we're going to plug that in as well. Make sure it's seated, and then I'm just going to lay it inside on a piece of paper so it doesn't short out anywhere. All right, so there you go. There's the unit all plugged in, ready to go. SD cards in it, and keep in mind it's already been formatted, and it's already had an OS installed on it. I'm not going to waste your time showing you the OS install. What I am going to do is plug it in, and let's see if we get a puff of magic smoke. No, but I did see the lights dim briefly. So let's see if I can power this unit on, and if we get the magic bong. Ooh, did he say magic bong? And voila, we get the magic bong. Now this has a Rage, an ATI Rage 128 Pro. Probably back when I gave my sister-in-law this machine, it was state of the art, and you can see it's booting into OS 10. Now, OS 10 Tiger, as we said earlier, is the only version you can run on. That's the highest version you can run on this. We'll just let it boot up, and then I'll come back and show you it. But this was the state-of-the-art machine at the time I gave it to her. It was pretty fast, and it still boots. What did that boot in 15, 20 seconds? So no complaints there. All right, so let's look at the actual specs of this machine and see what we have here. So hopefully you can see the screen. First things first, we need to go into System Preferences and turn on the dashboard. I want to, no, it's on the dashboard, it's on the dock. I want it to magnify when I hover over the dock. There we go, there's our little springy dock. So if we come here to About This Mac, you'll see that this is indeed a dual 500 megahertz PowerPC G4 with 512 meg of RAM. And it is running OS 10 Tiger 10.4.11. And let's see how it identifies that SD card. So if we go to ATA, this also has a burner in there, but you see it identifies it as the Synteki, SINTECHI high-speed SD to CF adapter version 1.0, revision 1.2. Got the serial number on there, and you can see we've got a 32 gig SD card in there, and it's working just fine. This also has a networking card in there, but I honestly don't know whether it's a gigabit Ethernet card or not. But there you go. We got OS 10 Tiger finally up and running on this dual G4 with 500 megahertz processor and 512 meg RAM. Now, the problem with this Mac G4 is it doesn't have an Intel processor in it, right? So you can barely browse the web on these things. It's not really good for much of anything else other than being a little piece of hardware history to have laying around your house. So, and again, I didn't pay for these. I just, my nephew reminded me I had this one laying around, or he had it laying around in his garage. And I said, well, we're going to do a video on this other one that I got from a client. I said, why don't we bring yours into it too and do a video? So I could spend the time and clean this up, and I may do that yet. I just haven't decided. But I just thought it was an effort in, trying to get the thing to run was the main thing. But there you go, it's up and running. I don't know what more to say about it. I don't know that we'll use it in any upcoming videos. I even tried to put this browser on here called 7400, and it's supposed to be a browser like Mozilla Firefox and you can see how long it's taken to come up. I'll just let it bounce here. But it's supposed to be an equivalent to a modern day Chrome browser And I noticed there's still updates for Safari on here. I just did an update for Safari the other day. But if you try to go out to certain websites, it'll tell you the certificate's invalid and won't let you go any further. Good luck, and let you see how long it's taken to bring up a website. And last time it didn't shut down properly, so that's why we have this screen. So I really don't know what you could use this unit for. Like I say, without a modern day Intel processor on it, you're kind of stuck with what you can do. You could upgrade the RAM on it, you could put up a larger SD card in it, but as for using this for day-to-day activities other than a novelty item, yeah, I have no idea. But there you go. Not built, SD card put in place of the IDE hard drive. We may come back and visit this again, but for now, this dual processor unit is up and running, and it's good to see old equipment back to life. And one more thing I forgot to mention, this thing draws about 65 watts when running. Now, when it had a spinning hard drive in it, it pulled about 75 watts. So for a dual processor machine with an AGP graphics card, that old technology, pulling only 60 to 65 watts, that's pretty good, in my opinion. But just FYI for those of you that were curious about how much wattage it drew. So there you go, YouTube. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. I know Apple Mac videos are not some of y'all's cup of tea, but I just wanted to do this video, just kind of see if I could do it and pull it off and get it done, and I did. I'm very proud of myself. What I'm going to use these Macs for, I don't have any idea. But if you have some ideas, leave them down in the comment section, along with a thumbs up if you liked the video. Thanks for coming to see us. Donate if you're so inclined. And please don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.